Hey YouTube, this is PrimetimePokemon. In this video, I'll be talking about graded Pokemon cards, what they are, how much these types of cards are worth, and if it is a good option to get some of your Pokemon cards graded. So first off, I'll talk about what exactly a graded Pokemon card is. Basically, a graded Pokemon card is a card that has been sent to a professional grading company, and this company takes a look at the card and they evaluate it on 4 different attributes. They look at how the card is centered, the corners of the card, the surface of the card to make sure there's not any scratching, and then the edges of the card. After they've examined these 4 attributes, they give the card a numerical value between 1 and 10 to determine how close to perfect the card is. If a card is graded a 10, that means the card is in absolute perfect condition. Now there are 3 main reasons why you'd want to get a Pokemon card graded. The first main reason is that by getting a card graded, it adds value to the card. And the main reason it adds value is you know the exact condition of the card. Also, getting a card graded, it preserves the card because it encapsulates the card in a slab stating the exact condition and the set the card is from. So those are the main reasons why you would get a card graded. Now there are 3 main companies that grade Pokemon cards, and if you're considering getting a Pokemon card graded, I definitely would recommend one of these 3 companies. Any other ones out there aren't big enough and well known enough to hold their value over time. The main grading service out there is PSA, or Professional Sports Authenticators. That's what this Charizard base set card is graded by. And this company asks at least $17 per graded card. So if you want to send in your card to get graded, you have to pay $17 for a single card, plus you have to pay for shipping and handling of shipping the card to the website, the company, as well as having that company send it back to you in this encapsulated slab. The second most popular grading company out there is BGS, or Beckett Grading Services. Cards range between $5 and $25 to get graded from that company. And the third major grading company out there is SCG, or Sports Cards Guarantee. It only costs $5 to $10 to get a card graded from that company. Now, because you have to pay more for cards that are graded by PSA, of course, these graded cards are going to be worth more than the same numerical value, let's say a 9, from BGS and SCG. So when you send a card into one of these companies, like I said, they evaluate the card, they encapsulate it in one of these slabs or plastic cases, and then at the top of the card, they say the exact set the card is from, what the card is, the number the card is, and the condition. This card I'm showing here is a 9, so a 9 out of 10, which is considered mint condition. Now some tips on getting cards graded. If you have a ton of cards to send in to get graded, it'll of course be pretty expensive to get them all graded, but you usually receive a discount getting, let's say, more than 10 cards graded at one time. Because it does cost so much to get cards graded, you want to make sure that the card you're getting graded is actually a valuable card. For example, this base set Charizard card is normally worth about $30 ungraded. So as long as the card is in pretty decent condition and you're pretty sure the card will get at least a near mint rating, let's say a 7 or an 8 out of 10, it would make sense to spend $20 to grade the card. For example, this card is worth $30 ungraded. It costs about $20 to get the card graded, so that makes it about $50. And this card right here is worth about $85 to $90. So it about triples in value just getting the card graded. So it definitely makes sense to get cards graded that are very valuable cards, because not only do they maintain their value over time and increase in value because they're encapsulated in this slab, but you know the exact condition of the card, and the condition of the card cannot deteriorate in this slab. Now, graded Pokemon cards aren't for everyone because they are so expensive and it costs so much to get your cards graded. I've shown in previous videos what I would do to store Pokemon cards. If you don't want to get them graded and encapsulated in this slab, you can always put the card in a sleeve, top loader, and team bag, and that will protect your cards pretty well. You just don't know for sure the condition of the card. Now, ranges in price of these Pokemon cards that are graded range vary. It really depends on the rarity of the card, how valuable the original card is, and how many of the graded cards are out there. For example, this graded 9 base set card, because base set is so old, if you have mint condition cards like this one, the value skyrockets. If you have jungle, fossil, base set 2 cards, if they're holofoil cards and they're in mint condition, they're all worth at least $20 a piece. But if you get new holo cards graded, let's say holo cards that are normally worth about $5, they're not worth as much because you can easily go out and buy a booster pack from that set, pull a good condition holofoil card and grade it yourself. So if you're asking the question, should I get my Pokemon cards graded? Number one, you have to have sufficient funds. It's going to cost several $100s if you want to get even 10 cards graded at once. Again, like I said, I would recommend getting all of your cards graded at once. It's definitely a good way to do it. It's much cheaper that way. You want to make sure and only get graded cards of cards that are worth a lot of money and that are ultra rare cards. For example, if I'm thinking about getting some cards graded, I've never done it before. I bought this card online already graded. But I would send in cards like a secret rare Charizard from Plasma Storm, a first edition Gym Challenge, Blaine's Charizard. I would send in a secret rare Blastoise from Plasma Storm, and then any other secret rare or very hard to pull cards from the TCG sets. I would make sure that I think the cards are in mint condition. That means that there's not any scratches on the card, and the backs of the cards have minimal to no flaking on the blue part. There you can see this is graded by PSA, but you just want to evaluate your cards and make sure that they're in great condition before you'd ever send them in to get graded. Otherwise, if a card comes back as a 5 out of 10, that card really has minimal value at that time. So that is it related to what are graded Pokemon cards. If you're looking to buy these types of cards online, you're definitely going to have to pay a lot more than you normally would for ungraded cards, but you for sure know the condition when you're buying those cards. There are a lot of people selling graded cards out there, so you can definitely look at different sites to see an average value, so you should know what you should pay for certain cards. Again, the main 3 grading companies out there are PSA, BGS, and SCG. I would heavily recommend PSA and BGS. Me personally, if I'm thinking about getting some cards graded, I would go with PSA. And you might hear of PSA DNA. The DNA part just means that the card is usually autographed, so they grade the autograph. That's the DNA part of PSA. And if you just search on Google for grading services or sports card grading, I'm sure those websites will come up. If you have any more questions related to graded Pokemon cards, definitely feel free to message me or comment on this video. Like I said, I haven't personally had any Pokemon cards graded, but this summer I do plan on opening a base set booster box. So I probably will send in all the holofoil cards I get from that box, hopefully a Charizard included, into PSA to get them graded. So that is it. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it very informative. Good luck to you if you're going to send in any cards to get graded. Definitely feel free to message me if you have any questions on what cards should be graded and what shouldn't be. But thanks everyone for watching. Definitely make sure to check out all the links in the video description of this video, my blog, Facebook, and Twitter links, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.